Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
people who let their intrusive thoughts win once. What did you do? Set fire to my father's newspaper. While he was reading it, I was about 5 years old, so that was nearly 80 years ago, and a 40-passage broadsheet in those days was a substantial fuel load. ETA, dropped this without thinking much, came back 2/3 of a day later to find it my most upvoted comment in years. More importantly, I've got vast enjoyment and amusement out of your replies, and no, I didn't consider any of them condescending. I fully intend to live for another century or so. No, I didn't get beat or whipped. I was never physically punished, something rather remarkable, looking back. I did get a stern lecture from my mother, of the more disappointed than angry type. Must have worked, because it curbed, but did not totally cure, my youthful pyromaniac tendency. Love that you're 85 and still active on Reddit. Proud of you, keep strong. This screams 1940s shenanigans lol. The player piano in the corner was running a jaunty tune. I put my foot in front of the girl I liked during English class, she stumbled on it and hated me forever. Thanks brain. Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I know a girl who was in high school and stabbed her crush in the leg with a pencil hard enough to break the skin to get his attention. A guy who had a crush on me did the same thing to me in like 7th grade, except it was to the back of my hand. He ended up getting expelled for bringing bullets into school. I threw a bottle out the window without thinking when driving and stopped my car to clean it up because I felt bad. You are capable of self-governance. We need more like you. Good job. Don't do it again, or I'll be forced to do nothing. Don't do it again, or I'll be forced to do nothing. Online discourse in a nutshell. I pissed in a coffee mug and microwaved it for 3 minutes, then ran it under cold water, which caused the mug to shatter and shoot boiling piss everywhere. I was tweaking off Adderall and 12 years old. To this day, I have no idea why I did any of this. Edit, woke up today and saw this gained attention, wasn't expecting that. Glad to share a laugh. I want to clear up confusion, tweaking off Adderall was hyperbole for comedy. I took an above-average dose in my childhood. I think I just didn't mesh well with the drug and it always made me do insane shit. This event isn't even the most unhinged thing I've done on Adderall. But no, my parents weren't serving me a heroic dose of Adderall every day. You could not waterboard that information out of me. Folded under no pressure whatsoever. Judging by how tame this thread is, I'm starting to worry a little about my intrusive thoughts. That's because a lot of people are describing impulsive thoughts, not intrusive ones. If most of us were to actually admit to the intrusive thoughts we've had, we'd all serve jail for life, let's be honest. Or end up in a mental asylum. I stapled my finger with a staple gun. I really wanted to know how it feels. I watched a kid do this in kindergarten with a stapler. Even at the age of 5 I knew how unhinged she was lol. We used to swing the stapler on our arm. Hurt a lot less than the finger but still left the 2 little spider bite looking holes. I did this on the nail of my left forefinger. I bled. Then did it in front of my bully and asked him if he's tough like me. He could never gather the courage to do it, and the bullying stopped. Whenever he came around me again, I started giving him the death stare and asserted dominance. For the rest of the year I bullied him just with my stares. It was an absolute delight to watch him get scared of me. Who knew self-harm had benefits? I had a shit day. During my 2nd year of uni, I'm a bit of a loner ICL, so I didn't have any friends to call up and ask to chill with me. So I spontaneously booked a train ticket to London at around 8 p.m, I arrived there at around 11:30 at night, and I didn't plan this through, I didn't book into a hotel or anything, I just kinda wandered the streets and walked about visiting places I had on my bucket list, and then I ended up going for breakfast at around 8 a.m, because I was up the whole night just walking about with my headphones on, and I ended up going to the National Museum there too. And visited Chinatown, and had some food there, and did some shopping, and by 5 p.m. I was on my way back to my student accom, which was a 4 hours journey on the train. I wouldn't change a thing about that day. It was so good. A good old wander is a great idea. Take that, intrusive thoughts. Not my intrusive thought, but when I was a kid my friend and I was sitting in a sauna when he said, what would happen if I piss on the hot rocks, and it turns out it just makes the entire complex smell like burnt piss and permanently bans you from the pool. I threw a slice of American cheese on the roof of my parents' garage in the middle of summer. It sat up there for weeks. Turns out Kraft singles will badly degrade an asphalt shingle. So, Kraft shingles, did you get the cheese touch? Jumped off a moving bus, got my knees wounded. Used to be able to do it all the time with the old-style London buses with open back platforms. You literally have to hit the ground running to get away with it. Although not if it's going too fast, then you're going down hard. Closing parenthesis. Drank a mixture of fruit juice, instant noodles, powder sauce, hot water, and I think soy sauce. This caused me to vomit like crazy the following night. I couldn't smell chicken-flavored noodles for years after that without gagging. That was your body saying, fool me once, lol. Love that you're 85 and still active on Reddit. Proud of you, keep strong. I am 20. Why do you think I am 85? I was like 12 or so when I did it. I was left alone for a couple minutes in a friend's house and licked one of those pink salt lamps. It was exactly like I was hoping, and I know I won't be able to buy one for myself now. I do that every time I'm left alone with salt lamps. The mental image of people just licking rocks on their table is amusing. I licked the back wall of an empty fridge, got my tongue stuck, panicked, and then pulled my head back and ripped off the tip of my tongue. Bleeding profusely, my grandfather gave me a cup of warm salt water to soak it in. Ouch. This reminds me of how much I shiver when there is that scene in A Christmas Story. I have done this. I was like 6 and picked a pole at school, church after Sunday service. My dad laughed at me for it, lol. He came back with a cup of warm water, poured it down the pole over my tongue and gave me a quick push. Very little damage and blood. Ate a bar of soap. Palmolive has a nice piquant after dinner flavor. Lifebuoy, yuck. I put a few Jaffa cakes in an electric kettle and boiled them. Edit, of all the comments I've made on Reddit over the years, I would never have expected this one to garner so many upvotes and comments. Cheers, I suppose. You beautiful bunch. Good lord, that is a British sentence. Not surprising, I'm from the north of England. Spent 10 years traveling around the world not giving a fuck. Literally left for a 10-day vacation and didn't come back. I'm so jealous of you. That's my daily daydream. How did you pull that off, money-wise? Both with luck and being an idiot. I had done a 2.5-year apprenticeship in financial mathematics and took the money from my apprenticeship, but it quickly ran out after 3 years and me spending it on my ex to bring her over. In Thailand 2008 I realized that I didn't really need money to continue traveling and I would figure it out. Lots of hitchhiking and working random jobs around the world plus falling back on finance when I had to. I have built, fished, farmed, done security, been in shows, ran hostels and pretty much anything else I could do to keep traveling. In 2018 for example I hitched like 18,000 kilometers. In 2013 way more from England to Portugal than to Iran. I made it to Iran in 2014. I traveled this way everywhere. All of Central America and a chunk of North Africa. In South America I spent a lot of time walking. I was gone from 2006 to 2014 just doing my thing and then left again in 2017 till COVID. Now I live between NYC and Estonia. You really don't need money to travel. You need to remember that nearly everyone needs help somewhere. The hostel stuff was really what let me travel almost indefinitely. You don't need anything when you work at a hostel and you can always get a job at the next one or offer to do a night shift for a free place to stay. I also cooked an absolute crazy amount of food for the hostels, so I would start there. I also found an amazing community through Hitch Wiki and the Hitch Gathering. However, that I found in 2016. Even when I was homed I was spending 4 to 6 months a year traveling. In 2016 I also started selling Christmas trees, so I would spend 10 months a year traveling and 2 working for a while. I still sell Christmas trees as my main source of income. Edit, to anyone reading this, fuck the money aspect. Buy a cheap flight and go, figure out everything else once you realize you can trust yourself. There is absolutely no reason to not travel when you can go to almost any country in 24 hours. And those worrying about visas, fuck that too. We spent millions of years walking around the planet. WTF is an imaginary line made in the 50s going to do for you? I have been arrested 3 times for illegal immigration, overstaying my visa. That is on them, not me. I am exercising my human right to sit across from someone else and break bead with them. I spent $2,000 for an entire year in Europe because of the hitchhiking and dumpster diving. 4 months in Norway cost me 120 flights and 50 on hash. Money should be the absolute last reason you don't do something. Edit 2, some dumpster diving pictures to show it's not what people think. There are way more noodle power related intrusive thoughts on this thread than I imagined there would be. Kicked a large mushroom. It went splat in a satisfactory way, and then my shoe was all gross. You helped that mushroom reproduce. You foot fucked that fungus. You're a mycelium mommy now. Foot fuck that fungus was not a phrase I expected to see this morning. Or ever. I didn't pull out. Now I have a kid. Lucky you. I've got 3. I love my kids. Couldn't justify not saying that, lol. Snorted packet chicken noodle seasoning in high school one time. Lost the use of a nostril for a week. Everything smelt like chicken soup too. Ramen rails. Been there. I don't do well during holidays with my wife's extended family. I walk in the door to insults, get almost no food and leave pissed off. One year I started drinking and the safety came off. Wife's aunt cracked a joke about me driving my same old car. I asked her if her husband was still banging his same old ex-girlfriend. That set the tone for the afternoon. Wife's cousin started on about religion and politics. I asked him about his inability to get a job and have his mommy support him in his 30s. Wife's other cousin made some snide remark about my daughter being too big for her age. I called him a pedophile and told him to keep his hands off children. At that point people started leaving. I felt so heartbroken. I was just warming up. My wife didn't talk to me the rest of the weekend, but we won't go to many family holidays anymore. Good for you. They shouldn't dish what they can't eat. Can I rent you for my next family gathering? Don't dish it out if you can't lick it up, right?